You know, After Effects has a lot of animation presets, and some of them are very interesting and extremely powerful, like the one you see on the screen. In this section, we are going to focus on the text presets, mainly the 3D ones and the Animate In and the Animate Out. They will make your animations, get faster to life, and you can introduce a lot of modifications and you can customize these presets so you can get exactly what you want. I recommend a lot that you use the presets and you modify them and save the presets. We'll learn that later. So you can have your own per character animation presets and expand your skills in using the robust type engine of After Effects. So we are going to learn more about Adobe Bridge, how to preview our presets and how to take them inside our project or apply them directly to our text layers. I'll see you in the next lecture. Hi guys, hope you're doing very well in this course. Now we did per character animation and it's time for us to look at presets, effects and presets. In fact, we will only be looking at presets now for text. So presets are important first because they will reduce the amount of work that you will be doing. You will also discover new ideas and new things to do with the text presets. And you will be able to generate your own libraries, the presets that you like, that you will use later on in your videos, in your animations, and so on, if you decide that this is my library and this is what I want to do. Of course, it's pretty advanced. It will be in this course how to create and save presets. Now, what are presets? Presets are animations that you have created in the timeline. You create your animation with position, transformation, whatever, and with the per character animation and so on, and you save them in animation, save animation preset. You can call them back by applying the presets. We will see that also in the later on in the course. Now, we want to focus on effects and presets for text. Come to your panel here, effects and preset. If you don't have it, you can't see it, then come to window and you have here effects and preset. Just tick it, it will come somewhere, you can adjust it. In the effects and presets, you have so many of them. Many of them are effects. There are more effects than presets because it's more important for videos and images and so on. You have animation presets here and they put a star on it. Please use it. And if you scroll it down, you will see you have background, behavior, and so on, so many. We want to look at text. If you open text, we find even more grouping here. We have 3D text, animate in, animate out, and so on. The list is almost infinite. You have like, I don't know, a couple of hundred or 300-400 of them. Now we want to work with animate in. If we scroll down, then we see that we have many of them just to bring text in. Animate in is bringing text in. If you don't know which one you want to use, it's going to be difficult to figure out. You have to drop it, try it, and so on. There is a better way. You can click on the menu here and go to Browse Preset. If you click, then it will open in Adobe Bridge. Adobe Bridge is free, but it will link to one paid copy or paid subscription of After Effects or Premiere Pro or other software that will use Bridge. Actually, Bridge is a browser that you can use. It's very easy to use and it has some more information about what you're browsing. In that case, we are browsing presets. Notice that the directory of presets or the folder of presets is in Adobe After Effects, support file, and then presets. Then from here you have the categories or the folders. And from the folders, you can choose text, for example. Notice I have 5 stars here because I use it a lot. You can double click and then you have more. Let's go to After Effects. You can see you have 3D text, animate in, and the rest. That also you can see in Bridge. Actually, Bridge is browsing your storage media and showing you whatever it can read and whatever it can show and display sometimes a preview. Let's go to Animate In folder. We double click. Now this is the beauty of Bridge. For presets, it gives you the ability to click on one of them and you can preview it. Usually it doesn't appear so fast. It takes some time to appear because it has to read it, interpret it, and then put it here. Now this is the beauty here. You can decide, okay, which one you want to preview, and then you can take them to After Effects. We'll see how to do that. Let's say we want to use fade up character. This is a nice one, though we have done better. Notice some of them we already have done. So if I want to use this one, the first thing I will do, I will go back to After Effects, make sure I selected the layer, make sure my timeline indicator is always in the beginning. Please don't put it at the end, because some presets and many presets will give you keyframes. You don't want to have the keyframes outside your timeline on the other side. So put your timeline indicator in the beginning, select your text layer. Let me duplicate this text layer before we start, because later on we'll have to type the words text presets again. I don't want to do that. So I will select the layer, set my timeline, go back to Bridge, for example. If I want to use fill up per character, so I can double click on it and it goes to After Effects. Now you notice the animation or the preset has been applied. I can come to preview and play it. Here you are, is there. It's pretty nice. Now don't stop here. Many people will come and say, okay, ooh, this one I don't like, and that's it. No, maybe you should look at it as a beginner or as a person who is really working hard to become an expert or knowledgeable in After Effects. You should do 2 or 3 steps more. The first step you should do is to come to the text layer and scroll it down and look at what has been changed. So you notice it's pretty difficult. What you do, you click on the layer, press U twice. So the letter U twice. Now it will give you all the properties where the values have been changed, such as the start here. We notice the value has been keyframed. Of course, there is a change. The based on character excluding space has been changed. Opacity has been added and the value has been changed to 0. So actually this is the per character animation here that has been set. It works on the start from 0 to 100% for 2 seconds, and the opacity is set from 0 to 100%, of course, as of the preset. That's all. And you can come and start changing things and adding things. For example, let's add a blur. We put property and we add a blur. Let's hype the blur and run the animation again. Wow, it's different. Now it's your preset. You can come animation and save your preset later on. I will show you how. Fine, you don't like the time, you shorten the time. So not only you use the preset, but also you learned how the preset is done and you added some more properties that you can use. And this is very important that you come and learn these things and pick up new ideas. You know, After Effects is about new ideas, new things coming in and out. Fine. Let's take this layer. I will just double click, Ctrl C, copy the text, delete this layer. And I have text preset 2 here. Okay, I'll put this one. We will work on this text. My timeline indicator is in the beginning. I go back to Bridge and I say, fine, which one? Remember, we have done something like this with the ramp up. We can get this one and learn how they have done it and also maybe use it at 100%. Straight by word, wipe in center, that seems good. Let's double click on it, go back to After Effects and press 0 or play it. Cool, this is fine. Let's go to the text layer, press U twice and look at all the properties that have changed. We notice the start here is working from 0 to 50% and also end. You know, we have done also something like this. They are using character excluding space, and it's not good, by the way, excluding space, because the 50% will be less from the start or the end. You know, the space here, the distance is bigger. And they have easy high 100 and easy low -100, and they're working on the opacity as simple as this. You can come and add more. You can come and add blur, for example. Again, you can add the blur and see what happens. Okay, you have your own preset now. Not bad, nothing happens because of the 50% and they're working with the end and so on. Cool, let's delete the blur. So this is how we want to work. Also, you can come and open the animator, look even more carefully, so on. There is a problem here. Deleting a preset is not always so straightforward. You can come say, okay, I want to delete the animator here. If I delete the animator, I have some information missing, which are maybe the options. They made changes here, or per character palette and so on. Maybe in the path, they put a path and then you still have the path or something like this. The mask has not been deleted. So it is better to delete the whole text layer if you want to get rid of the a preset, or just undo if you have just done it. In the next lecture, what you want to do is to come back to Bridge and explore more about the text in. In fact, now I'm gonna give you good ideas about what is text in and what is text out and how to use them. Thanks very much. Let's move on to the next lecture. Hi guys, and welcome to this new lecture about text preset. This is, I think, lecture 2 from the text preset. We have seen already a couple of animated in, and now we want to see animate out, and also we'll look at animate in, a couple of them that are very important. What is in and out? You know, we put text in on the screen, that is animate in, and then we want to remove it. We don't want it to stay there. We either remove the text and write new text, or we remove the whole layer, you know, just out, or we can move to a new pre-composition, or we can drop a new image or a new solid on top of the text, something like this. Animate in is bringing the text in, and animate out is bringing the text out, and that's pretty interesting. Let's try in Bridge now another one. For example, we take slow fade. I like the slow fade, you know, it's slowly fading in. So we are in animate in, guys. So double click, go to After Effects and run the animation. It's slowly fading in. Very nice. Now notice there is a problem in this preset. It's going twice. Why there is a problem? And we look at the range selector, we look at the offset. The offset is going from -100 to 100, so it's passing by 0. If you say 0 minus 0, it will not remove the text 100%, so it has to pass another time to display the text. So the first one will display the text halfway, and the second pass will display the text at 100%. They used offset. You can change that. You can use, for example, the start or the end to display the text in one shot, but it will be totally different animation. So we have brought the text in. Is it possible to use the same animation to bring the text out? The answer is yes, and that's very easy. So you have here 2 keyframes, and you can duplicate these keyframes. It will work if you are in a single layer. If you try to duplicate keyframes in different layers or several layers, it will not work. It will duplicate the layers. Now let's select these 2 keyframes, and what you can do is reverse this animation. I can copy them, or let me copy the last one. I did Ctrl C, I will do Ctrl V. So it's showing here now. Then I copy the first one, Ctrl C, and go to in time 1 second. I have Ctrl V. Now notice my text is coming in and it will come out, because I reversed the keyframe. Now, not always this can work. Sometimes it doesn't work because the animation or the preset is a bit complicated and the keyframes won't do the job. Now, there is another way also to do that, a simpler way. I like to be lazy and show you very many shortcuts. I will select both keyframes, press Ctrl C. Now, I copied both keyframes, come after 2 seconds, for example, and put the keyframes. Now, notice the animation is wrong, because it will come in and then it will come out and then it will come in again. What I will do, I will select the last 2 keyframes I put there and right click and go to Keyframe Assistant and say Time Reverse Keyframes. So the one on the right came to the left and the one on the left came to the right, on the right. Trust me, it's like this. So it appears, stays where it is, and then disappear. See, you draw in the text and drew out the text, and that's pretty beautiful. Now logically what you will do is something like this. Then take these 2 keyframes and push them out, so you have more time in than the transition itself. So the text is coming in and the text is coming out. Now in this case it works very nicely. What have we done in concept? First, we have animated the text in. That's pretty nice. It stays where it is. And then we have animated the text out. That's pretty cool. Fine, let's delete these 2 keyframes. Do you think we can use Animate Out presets to move the text out? Let's try. Let's go to Bridge now. And we don't want to be in Animate In. So we move out to text. And there is Animate Out. If you double click here, now unfortunately in After Effects the Animate In are much nicer than the Animate Out. Let's try Fade out slow. You notice these are out. Fade out per character and so on. Fade out slow seems nice to me. We can do that. I will double click and come back here. Now notice I put my timeline indicator just where I wanted to start going away. And let's try. Well, it worked. In that case, it worked. Well, actually, it's the same animation or same preset. And now it's working. Let's undo this one. So now it just comes in. We are sure. We position here and we go to bridge. And let's try another one. For example, random fly off. Will it work? I really don't know. Let's try. If we double click, go back to After Effects and try. Now the text is coming in. Will it come out? Actually, it did come out, but this animation here is taking care of the size of the composition where the text really is not coming out 100%. If we come to the beginning, so what we have to do, we'll go to the Animator 2. It has been created. We go to the range selector, and if we position here and here, we need maybe to take the position a bit to the outside. It's not working. Fine, let's try. It's working a bit. Okay, more. Let's try 1 and 2, even more. So there are some complications here and you need to work on it. But actually now it's working. So our text came in, stayed some time, and then came out. Fine, but there is a better method to do all this. Sometimes we bring in the text through the transformation of the layer, and then we can remove it through the presets or the Animate Out. Let's do that. We take the animators, and in this case we can delete the animators and everything will disappear. I will open the position here, keyframe the position, take it outside. Okay, go down the timeline half a second and bring it back in. So now I have an animation where the text is just coming in. Pretty cool. So of course I want the text to stay some time here. So I will keyframe, for example, here. Then move on. I want my text and I want the preset to start here. So the text stays on the screen for that period of time. Then I want it to start from here, the Animate Out preset. We go, let's take, for example, fade out slow. That will be nice. And we double click, go back to After Effects, and let's try. Did it work? Before we look at any keyframes. Cool, it worked. So that's pretty nice, and you have taken the text out through a preset. Now we have used the same preset. Let's do a better preset, for example. Let's say straight off by character. I know this one will not work. Encoder fade out. This one might work. Let's double click and take it back. Here it stands and you have it encoder out. Cool. So this is the use of Animate Out. You can come to Bridge now, or you can come to your presets here and try the Animate Out all together and decide, okay, which one you want to use. Now, what is very good is your ability to change a preset and save it as your own preset and then use it and reuse it later on as you wish. Thanks for listening. I hope you understood what is Animate In and Animate Out, how to use it with the preset. It is not that complicated, but I know as the first time you face this, it might seem like a bit absurd, but it's pretty easy. Of course, it will take some training for you to get it done and perfectly done. See you in the next lecture where we are going to do some 3D text animation, and I assure you they are really fantastic. See you then. Text presets in 3D, and this is amazingly beautiful, and you will learn a lot here, and you will be able to set your presets almost any way you want, and actually it will save you a lot of work. Now there are some YouTube videos that will teach you how to rotate text around the x-axis in 3D, how to work on the text, I don't know how, stories. Please, first of all, try per character animation, try the presets, then decide that you are going to create a complex animations with 10-15 keyframes and opacity, rotation, I don't know what, before you get the results. So please first try the presets and try to see how you can save time. You know, when you're working in animation, it's already time consuming. So if you do things that already are there and you replicate them, you waste time. So you want to check all the presets before deciding that you are going to do the animation by yourself. This is my advice to you. Then there are very many presets that you can change and manipulate towards what you want. Now, in this lecture, what you want to do is 3D. Let's go. We select our layer here, and notice our layer is not 3D. And we are going to be a bit naive. Go to Adobe Bridge and select a very nice animation. Very simple, even a simpler one. Double click and bring it into After Effects. Well, it is already in After Effects and it made it a 3D. That's pretty cool and it works very nicely. Fine, let's play it. Not bad, not bad. It's a okay animation. And if you look at all the parameters that have been changed by pressing UU, the start, there is position, opacity. I don't mind adding a blur here. See, you make it a bit nicer. A good blur will do marvelous here. Cool, that's not bad. If it is too long, you can shorten it. Okay, so that's one of the presets. Let's delete this animator. I think there is only one. Yes, we can delete it. And hopefully nothing has changed inside the path options. Inside the more options here. It's character. It's cool, it's fine. We'll choose it and let's go to the presets over here. There are some of them that are very easy to be used from here and they are very important. 3D basic rotate X with a cascade. That's very beautiful. So to apply the preset now, it's already a 3D layers. We can take it and just drop it on here. If it doesn't go 3D, then make it 3D. Okay, that's not bad. It's a nice animation. If you play it, cool, that's beautiful. Now, how can we make it better? First of all, usually we don't want it per character, though this is nice. Let's go and change it to the animator. We go change it to per word, and that will be better. In the advanced, we go to character and say words. Now that's nicer. And there are very many YouTube channels and YouTube stories that will teach you this one with a ton of keyframes. Now we don't want it to come from this side. It's coming from 180 degrees. If you noticed, where is it? It's over here. It's coming from 180 degrees. Well, what we can do here is to change it to -90. And we have a totally new animation. So this is what I'm talking about. If you want to do something, try to do it with the presets. Now, I have here no position. Well, how about if I add an anchor point and move just dumbly like this, the anchor point on the y-axis. Let's look at our animation now. Now it's flipping nicely. Let's increase the anchor point. We increase the anchor point, for example, to 300, I think will do. Now it's flipping even nicer. Notice the animation is quite nice. Now if you want to do that with keyframes, you're in for a deal. Believe me, you're gonna take a long time doing it. I've been there. I tried this with keyframes and it doesn't work that easily. So this is a simple animation, a preset, and we changed a couple of things and here you are in 3D doing it even better. Fine, let's try another animation. I will come to the text layer, go to the end, double click on it, press Ctrl C to copy it, and just delete this layer. Double click on the T for type, and then press Ctrl V, and I have text again and a clean layer that I can work with. Let's go to another one I like very much. Some of them are really crazy, like this one for example. It's they come from far and come in, but there is one I want to show you. It is this one. Now here you have 3D rotate. Notice when I choose this one, I double click, I go back and I have it, like it looks very odd. First of all, we made the mistakes. We're gonna undo, bring our timeline indicator to the beginning, go back to bridge and double click again and come and see it here. Fine. But now this one looks odd. There is nothing here you can see. Now these are kind of presets where you need to work on them and you need to set them because the options are so many. So let's open the rotation here and try to rotate it on the x-axis. Now we have something here, we can see it, and if we turn it around, it's pretty nice. But of course my text is big, I can reduce my text, that's cool. But also I can come to the mask. I hope you notice there is a mask here. If you come to mask, there is a mask. If you come to text, in the path options you have mask 1. Cool. I will come to mask, double click it, that's better, and stretch it, play with it the way I want. So they did all the animation for me. Now I need just to set it the way I want. Now let's play this animation. Is it good enough for us? Not really. The text is coming inverse on the behind. That's very easy. We come to reverse path and we reverse the path, and here you are. Now it's going the other way, but it's not setting where we want it. They're using the first margin. I can see it here, and now all I have to do is to make the first margin longer and so on. And here I am. I have a simple animation. It's very long. Let's make it 1 second only. Now there is something very important that we learned from here. They did not use start and end. They just used the angle, the rotation, and that's pretty clever. So instead of using the animator to animate, they used the first margin to animate, and the range selector was not used, but we are using the animation here. That is pretty nice, and it gives us something quite good. If we rotate it, we have some other angle we are rotating on. Cool. Let's go and delete this layer. We copy the text from here. We delete totally the layer, double click on T and paste it. We have a fresh new layer. Let's look also what do we have that could be good for your work. Let's look at this one, 3D swing. Not bad. It has a path, if you notice. Let's double click and try to use it. We come here and we have an empty text layer. That's very good. So now why it didn't work? Notice it created a new layer. That's an empty layer. It doesn't have anything inside, but it is 3D. So obviously I must set the 3D before I bring in the preset. Some presets are like this. I will delete this layer, choose this one and enable 3D. I'll go back to Bridge and choose the same one now, double click, go back and see if it worked. Actually it did work now. Now let's preview this animation. We deselect, not bad, it's quite nice. What can you do here? The first thing you can do, you notice, is working on the path itself. You can make the path longer or change the path the way you want. And this is a mask, in fact. And play it again, see your text. Cool. Yeah, it will be good here to change the tracking. So this is about 3D. I showed you a lot of things about 3D presets, and you want to come and play more. If we recreate this one, for example, let's undo everything. So we were here, there is nothing. We go back to the bridge and let's bring another one, for example. I don't know, which one would you like us to bring? Let's bring, not a crazy one, this one. Okay, 3D flip up with the words. I think it's by word. Let's play it. Same problem here. It didn't happen right. We will delete this one, take the other one again and go back and get it back. Here it's working now. Now this is a nice one. Notice what they have done. The text is appearing like white and blurred, and then it move on. If you look at the use, you can learn a lot from it, how they managed to make the layer look like, shaded under and then stand up. Thanks very much for listening. This was a long lecture about 3D. There is so much to say, so much to explain to you. The best way, please, ask me the questions, ask me anything you want. Now, go to Bridge or just come to your FX and preset, and there are very many nice ones that you can try and really adopt for yourself and do exotic animations and very beautiful ones and become one of the best animators for text animation in this course. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next lecture. Hi guys, welcome to this new lecture about presets. Sometimes in After Effects we're trying to create a motion or an animation that we have seen somewhere or trying to figure it out, and we find it very complicated. Yet we could go around and find that After Effects already has a preset, or After Effects has a trick or two to be able to do that motion or that animation very easily and very simply. For that, I decided here that I will show you the blur in the effects and preset and bring to your attention certain techniques that might simplify a lot the way you work and get your animations to become really, very, very nice. Okay, let's go to the bridge. We'll choose our layer. We come to the beginning here. Of course, we go to bridge. I am in the blur, so it's text and there are blurs here, so I'll double click on them. Now the first blur I'm looking at is a very simple blur. It's blur by word. The second one I will look at, for example, is this blur moving in. Let's say blur by word. Though I have one word only, nevertheless I want to take this animation and look at it. Now notice what they have done here. The blur is coming in and showing. It's pretty nice, pretty cool, and extremely smooth. So how did they do it? If I press UU, I will notice that first of all it is using the offset, and it's not start and end. The offset goes from the middle of the word, and they are using the opacity and the blur. Now the trick of the opacity is very interesting. Then the blur is not equal. It's 184 and 277, so there are two different blurs here. If you change to the same value, for example, I press alternate, there is a change of animation. So it's up to you to decide exactly how you want to do it and what is the best one. But notice here mainly the use of opacity with the blur. So the opacity comes in and the blur will make it appear. If you remove opacity, put it back to 100%, you have just a blur in the beginning. So the use of opacity is pretty important, and that's a simple trick that you already know. By the way, they came here and changed the name of the animator and blur by word animator. Somebody took his time to write a name. Let's delete this animator and we have absolutely nothing. Cool. Let's go back to bridge and try the blur bullet train. That's pretty nice, by the way. I will come back and let's say, is it done? Yes. Let me add a word here. I will double click on the layer, go in front and say space graphics. So hopefully my layer will be in line. Let's move it and see exactly. Cool. Let's put the layer here. Fine. So we have our preview now, and notice how it's coming from both sides. So how did they do that? How did it come from both sides? That's pretty easy, by the way. It's easy because I can press UU and go and see exactly the opacity and the blur. The blur is unidirectional on the X only. That's another trick that you already learned here. So using different values for blur and using the opacity with the blur will give you a different kind of animation. Fine, this is one. Let's delete this animator. So now also the animator is renamed here. We delete it and we need to put this one to 0. We go back to bridge and let's try, for example, to see what this one is offering. Now this, we have tried to do something like this with the wiggle. Well, actually it was always here. So we go back and see how it works. Now it's pretty nice. It's more aggressive than what we have done together. And also there are a few tricks that we might learn here. And here they have used an expression, which is the wiggle expression. I haven't used the expression wiggle here. You will learn this wiggle expression later on in the course when we get to the part of expressions. I used the expression from the wiggle selector here. Now it seems this is better, or this is much more aggressive. Cool. Let's delete the jiggy animator. Nice name. We go back to the bridge and let's see this one. This is very much in use and I like it very much. We are going to change it a bit. We double click on it, go back to After Effects and see exactly how it works. You notice it's very nice. It comes from far and focus in. This is an animation that you can always do. Now, what do you think they have used here? Obviously, there is scale involved. I think so. And the blur is not on every character, is more on other characters. So it has to be, let's look. we press U. First, grouping alignment, they changed the grouping alignment. They worked with the offset. If you look at the range selector, we notice we have the offset at -100 and the end at 100, so everything disappears and comes in. Cool. The unit is percentage. You see the easy low is 68%, so they can come down nicely. Look at the scale. The scale is 13 on the x-axis and 3000 on the y-axis, and this explains how they're coming from very far to here. Now, pretty cool trick that you can always use. Then we have the blur also on the x-axis. On the 13 here is very high, on the y-axis is very low, and it gives you this animation. Of course, now you can come and fiddle with it and change it the way you want, and maybe don't give any blur here on 0. You see it changes a bit, it becomes more rigid and everything is coming. Okay, you have the randomized order is on, so it is randomized. Now it's off, I put it off, and the animation comes all together. Randomize on is very beautiful. So using the randomize and using the scale with 13 and 3000 coming from far, and also using the blur on 2 different values, you have created a very beautiful animation, and very simply. Now, if you come here and start changing with this one, then animation, save animation preset, it will be yours, and you can use it on and on in all your animations. This is all I want to bring to your attention for blur effects for text. See you in the next lecture.